Victor Wembanyama just won his NBA Finals. After the Spurs beat the Lakers last night, a bunch of people were trolling Wemby on Twitter because, as you guys saw, he raised his hands, was looking at the crowd, hyping everybody up, basically acting like he would just won the NBA Finals. I mean, if they won it, he'd probably go a little crazy, but it kind of would be a similar celebration. But I can't really blame him, bro. The Spurs were on almost a 20-game losing streak. They are 4-20, and they finally got a win, and it was against the greatest of all time. If you want to say it's MJ, whatever, second greatest of all, it doesn't matter. But you get what I'm saying. It was a big game against one of the best players of all time. They beat the Lakers to finally get a win. I know Anthony Davis was out. D'Angelo Russell was out. I think they also might have missed a few other pieces, but those were the main pieces. So it's not like a real legit win over the Lakers, but it's something. And today I'm gonna talk about Wemby. We're gonna talk about the Spurs for this season. We're gonna talk about the Spurs future. We're also gonna talk about one of the best performances we've seen this entire season. If you guys are new, make sure to sub up. This is a brand new channel, as you guys know, and I'm going crazy. We're daily uploading. I'm grinding on this channel. The Spurs won this game 129-115. Wemby didn't go too crazy when it comes to the scoring, and he hasn't really been going too crazy when it comes to scoring. He's had a few games, you see the flashes, but the Spurs game plan this entire year is not really ran through Wemby. You'd expect first overall pick, the most hyped player possibly in team sports history. You think he'd come out here. They're not really a great team. They're just gonna feed him the ball every single play and let him work. That's not what the Spurs are doing. If you've been watching them this year, it's definitely from Greg Popovich, one of the greatest, if not the greatest NBA head coach of all time, you know, and he's being really smart. He's telling them, we're not going to force it to Wemby. You know, you'll turn on the Spurs game and you'll be watching like a Cedi Osman, Zach Collins, PNR. They're letting everyone else go crazy. I think Devin Vassell had 36 points today. You got Vassell, Keldon, which by the way are two solid pieces. I'd like to see them in the Spurs future moving forward, because obviously they're not in win now mode now, but moving, you know, forward once they have, and we're going to talk about their draft picks, which they have a lot. The future's looking really bright in San Antonio. I don't think I've ever seen a worse team have such a bright future. I don't know if that's the right terms, but it's a really bad team. Like if you look at the Wizards or the Pistons, they are in very similar spots. I think the Pistons have 2 wins. The Wizards have like 4 wins, but like the chemistry, the vibe over on those teams, it's way different. Like if this was the Pistons or the Wizards beating the Lakers, their players are not reacting how this crowd reacted and how Wemby reacted after this game. Like they have a bleak future. I don't know if that's the right word, but you know what I'm saying? They have their future's not looking good. But with the Spurs, it's looking pretty good, especially if they can keep Keldon, if they can keep Vassell. And I think those are the main 2 pieces, but obviously Wemby's going to be there for at least a few more years, probably a decade. Again, like I said, Wemby has not been going crazy when it comes to the scoring. He's averaging 19.3, which is actually really good for a rookie. That's 42nd best in the entire NBA. And if we take a look at his game log, the thing that is jumping off the boards to me, actually there's 2 things. The thing that's jumping off the stat sheet to me, or if you just watch the games, what he does so good is paint protection. The blocks. Against the Lakers last night, he had 2. Against the Lakers the night before, or 2 nights before, he had 6. Then he has a game with 5, a game with 4, a game with 1, a game with 4 again, another 4 block game, 2 blocks, 3. He even has a game against the Grizzlies with 8 blocks. His paint presence, and I think he is in the running for Depoy Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think he's gonna get it. Actually, let me check the odds. Okay, so Wemby actually has the 5th best odds to win Defensive Player of the Year, behind, I believe, Brook Lopez. No, Rudy's first, then it's AD, Mobley, and Brook Lopez. So a bunch of rim protectors. Honestly, I'm not sure how Wemby doesn't have better odds to win it, but as a rookie to be in that conversation already is crazy. And for all the people that want to say Chet is gonna win Rookie of the Year, he's not. Wemby's gonna win it. Chet started off kind of hot, better than Wemby if we're being honest, but I mean, it's not really close in my opinion. Wemby is starting to blow Chet out of the water, and Wemby is only getting better. Chet, I haven't really seen improve too much since the start. He's kind of coasting, whereas Wemby, I mean, if we look at these rebounding numbers in the month of December, he's averaging 15.3. So 19.5 points, 15.3 boards, and 4 blocks. Like, Wemby is turning into a actual beast, and we knew this would happen, but I mean, he's pretty much a lock for rookie of the year, in my opinion. You know, you got Shed in there. After that, there's nobody that stands a chance. I think if Wemby even like got hurt, okay, maybe not yet, but and I don't want that to happen, so I hope it doesn't. But I'm just saying, if Wemby's season were to end today, I don't know if a guy like Asar Thompson or Jaime Jaquez, if they played out the whole 82, would even win it over him. I don't know if that's crazy. And I know there's a minimum number of games that you need in order to win it, so I don't know if he's played enough yet. He's about around that number. But Wemby is absolutely hooping. And if you watch this game, you knew going into it, with AD out, with D'Lo out, LeBron was going to be fighting for his life. And I already knew, like, I feel like when you hear, like, if you're a casual or, you know, you just hear AD's out, D'Lo's out, you start thinking LeBron's about to go crazy. LeBron's probably going to drop 30, 10, and 10 or something like that. When I heard that news, the guy that I thought was going to step up, take a lot more shots, was actually Austin Reeves. And he did. He took 18 shots, 8 for 18. He had 22 points. LeBron 7 for 17 with 23 points. Rui with 20 off the bench. Christian Wood with a huge 17 off the bench. If they don't get that from him, then they're not in this game. Castleton and Hodge checked into the game, got 6 and 5. So, I mean, it's a win. And the Spurs played great, by the way. Again, Devin Vassell with 36 points, 5 for 10 from 3. Keldon, even Sohan at 11. Now, if we take a look at the team stats and we take a look into the Spurs future, this is a team that I think coming into the year, because of the hype around Wemby, and I knew he was such a good prospect, I thought there was maybe, actually, no, I didn't think there was a chance they could make the play. I mean, maybe a small chance, 5%, but when you look at the Western Conference, it's absolutely loaded except for like 2-3 teams at the bottom. So yeah, it was just gonna be too tough for them, and I think they're even like probably still 2 years out of really making like the play-in or playoffs, I should say. If they make it next year, then that's insane. You got Wemby, you got Vassell, you got Keldon. Zach Collins actually a solid piece. Sohan, I think the Spurs would like to keep him in the picture long term. After that, it's a lot of guys that I could see leaving. Trey Jones, I don't think they're really, you know, gonna tie him down or have him in the long-term picture. Cedi Osman as well. Malachi Brannon, I'm not sure. But after that, pretty much everyone down here, I don't think is going to be in the long-term picture. Devontae Graham is a guy that I thought back when he was in Charlotte, I thought he was actually about to take a jump and like actually be a solid like star in the NBA. As crazy as it sounds, now he's only averaging 2 points a game on 12 minutes, but he's a guy that I thought had a lot of potential. And yeah, I mean, I just thought I should mention, it kind of sucks to see how that panned out. The Spurs in about 2 to 3, maybe 4 years are actually going to be insane. Unless something tragic happens, something goes fatally wrong. I mean, look at this. They have the Raptors pick for next year, protected 1 through 6, but they're not going to, the Raptors aren't going to have that pick anyway. So the Spurs will have this pick. And what pick is this going to be? It's probably going to be a lottery pick. So they're going to have 2 lottery picks because they have their own lottery pick. And then they're going to have the Raptors. They probably won't get the Hornets pick because this should also be a lottery pick. And then the Hornets will keep it. So, but they're going to have 2 lottery picks next year. Moving on, 2025, you're going to have the Hawks pick, which that could be a lottery pick. That could be a lottery pick. They're going to have their own pick, which will probably still be a lottery pick. Then they're going to have the Bulls pick, which they might not get because it's protected 1 through 10 and the Bulls might end up keeping that. But you see what I'm saying, bro? And in 2026, they got their own pick, the Atlanta pick, some more down here. The future's looking bright. The future is really looking bright. There are some other teams out there that are not doing that good, but they don't have draft picks. The Spurs are loaded when it comes to draft picks. And if we take a look at who they have their money tied to, they have Keldon on a 4-year deal. Good deal. He's a great player. I want to see him with Wemby as long as they can have it. Doug McDermott, like I said, a guy that's not in the future. Wemby is on a 4-year deal. And bro, when his rookie contract expires, I mean, he might get the biggest contract in NBA history. What do y'all think? Like, why would he not, right? Why would he not? Devontae Graham, they do have for another year, even though he barely plays. Trey Jones, another year. I don't think he's really in the long-term picture for the Spurs. Zach Collins has actually been playing solid. but I'm not sure if he's in the long-term picture. Again, Birch, Osman, they're going to leave. Cameron Payne is not even on that team. Matter of fact, I don't even know if, maybe not all these people are on the team, but I guess they owe him money. Whatever. Vassell is on the biggest contract that they have. They have the most money tied to Vassell. 135 million for 5 years, which this first year he's only making 5.8. Maybe this was an extension. I'm not sure. But Sohan they got for 3 years. The future's looking pretty good. Like some of these guys that aren't needed, like say like Doug McDermott, 13 mil, like they can let him go, start building for the future with all these draft picks, rookies that they have. I don't think they really need to necessarily make some crazy trades yet. I think they just keep developing and keep getting better for the future. The man that we really need to talk about today, Jalen Brunson, got his career high points. He dropped a 50 bomb on the Phoenix Suns. His career high before this was 48 points. He had 50 points, 6 boards, 9 assists. And it doesn't say it on the screen, but I know he shot 17 for 23 from the field, 9 for 9 from 3. Jalen Brunson was going crazy. He's actually the first player in NBA history to ever have a 50-point game while shooting 100% from deep. So huge shout out to Jalen Brunson. He did it against the Suns, who I believe this was their second game with Booker, KD, Beal all playing together. But Beal, after playing 5 minutes, ended up getting hurt again. I mean, it's getting to the point where Beal literally might be the most injury-prone player in the NBA. Speaking about fantasy, I know some of y'all probably play fantasy basketball. Not too many because it's not that popular. But going into the season, he was a player. Like, he's a good player when he can play, but he was on my do not draft list because he literally cannot stay on the court. Now we got a man that you probably never thought you would see in one of these videos, but we got Jordan Poole, and the Wizards, they're off to a terrible start. They're 4-20. They're 4-20, but today they beat them, or last night I should say, because I'm posting this to, you know what I'm saying. I'm recording these right after the games, so it's today for me, but last night for y'all. They beat the Pacers. The Wizards somehow took down the Pacers, who I think are going a little cold right now, bro. They have not been hooping the best. The Pacers have not been hooping the best. Giannis just dropped 64 on their head. Now the Wizards are beating them. Jordan Poole had 30 points, 4 boards, 8 assists, shooting 66% from the field, 75% from 3. He had his best game of the year. I feel like I had to mention it, bro. It's a big game. They beat him by 14. And Jordan Poole has been ice cold to start the year. The projections, I know for ESPN at least, had him averaging 28 and a half or 28.6. Almost 30 points per game. Jordan Poole is averaging 16 and a half, to put that into perspective. An absolute letdown of a year from Jordan Poole. You know, as a Warriors fan, I can't say I expected much from him. I mean, I did think he was going to do better than this. 29 points per game is a little bit of a crazy projection, but Jordan Poole, 30 points, took down the Pacers. Halliburton did get hurt. He has a left knee contusion, so he didn't play his regular minutes. I think he only played like 28 minutes, but still, big win. I should say big loss for the Pacers. I mean, this win doesn't really matter for the Wizards, but this is a big loss for the Pacers. This is a bad one. If you're a real one, if you're still watching the video, comment loyal. If you've been tapped in with the videos, if you've been enjoying them, comment loyal. I'm gonna go through, as I always do, reply to everybody, heart every comment, sub up if you guys haven't, click the video on your screen right here if you guys haven't seen it yet.